Tonight, I'm singling out Five Guys, and it's for their prices. And it's as a result of a series of community posts here on my YouTube channel that I ran that a lot of you guys voted in. That it really puzzled me when I started going through these polls. Um, I'll frequently use the community posts to, engage with the community outside of video type stuff. And sometimes I'll throw polls in there just to have fun and kind of see what everybody thinks. And the first poll I'm going to show you here is one of those types of things where I was just having fun with it, and I threw up, just a quick poll. And what it was who makes the better burger between Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, Five Guys? Now, important here, I want you guys to notice that when I ran these polls, I ran them 4 successive days last week, and I kept the options the same through all the polls. Same order and everything. This way, any kind of bias was, eliminated from that. And what I found peculiar about this is you can see here far and away Five Guys is the vote for who makes the better burger. I mean, it beat everybody, I think, combined by a margin of 2x. So that to me was a profound thing that I wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper into, because we had just done a live stream about comparing costs of fast food restaurants. And, I had gone through McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and we talked about, why are the prices getting so high? And Five Guys is like an extreme example of that. Over the past 15 years, the price at Five Guys has gone absolutely crazy. So that leads me to the second poll, which was the next day, in which case I wanted to actually get at exactly which burger is the best value. Now here you can see that it skewed a lot lower, not as much to Five Guys. Wendy's was the better value here, which I also find interesting because one of the observations that I have, about a month ago, I went to Wendy's, maybe a little bit more, a month and a half ago, and I spent, I think, $18 for a combo meal with soda. And even that, to me, value-wise, it wasn't exactly what I would call high value, but we do know that fast food prices are climbing across the board. So that was the second. Moving on to the third poll. Which fries are better? And you can see here McDonald's kind of won by a margin of 2x to over Five Guys. Now, really interesting with this, McDonald's, most people are going to say McDonald's are the best fries. I think that might be a product of the fact that it's far and away, the biggest fast food restaurant chain. But Five Guys, they're people love their fries as well. So that kind of keeps me going down this rabbit hole of, so then I wanted to get at overall, which restaurant has the best menu. And this, I find that this is the most interesting part of these polls to me, is exactly what happened here with this, where you got essentially Wendy's winning out by quite a lot, and McDonald's and Five Guys being kind of equally matched, and Burger King being all the way lowest, which I found completely interesting because to me, I think Burger King has a solid menu. And of the 4 menus, Five Guys is the most limited, comparatively to the other 3. I mean, they don't even have chicken on the menu. They have hot dogs, but we're going to get into the menu a little bit in a second. We're going to put together an order and everything. I do have to shout out to one of our channel members, James. Hello, James. Thank you for being here. And let's get into this whole Five Guys thing, because of all these polls, I think it's interesting that as far as who makes the best burger, people say Five Guys. I would argue that Five Guys has the easiest to reproduce experience at home, which is interesting that people would consider that the best, because a lot of times people value the convenience and kind of the junkiness of the food as, the reason to go for these fast food things. I mean, people don't eat Big Macs because they're great burgers. They eat it because of nostalgia, and, whereas Quarter Pounder with cheese might be something that's a little bit more kind of, I would say, one of the better values at McDonald's, even though the prices on those are going crazy as well. So with that, I pulled up some other resources that we're going to pull up here, and I want to talk about Five Guys because of the 4 restaurants in the polls. And I'll go back to who makes the better burger, because that's kind of the one that prompted most of my scrutiny here. Um, of these four options, Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, and Five Guys. Five Guys, I mean, McDonald's and Burger King, maybe you can say are on par with each other as far as the burgers. Wendy's and Five Guys, I guess you can say are on par with each other in terms of the fresh, never frozen type thing. But let's get into a little bit more about Five Guys and exactly why is it they can get away with the prices that they have. And we'll talk about the menu kind of a little bit in depth. We're going to go deep into this one. And starting with kind of their story and why it is that I think they feel that they can justify the prices that they have. So for this, I went right to their website, and you can see we have the Five Guys story. Jerry Merle's mother always told him, if you can give a good haircut, or if you can serve a good drink at a bar, or if you can serve a good hamburger, you can always make money in America. And I mean, margins are obviously what they're looking at here. But in terms of their ethos here, you can read several portions of this here. Under the guidance of Jerry and Janie, the Merrill family served only hand-formed burgers cooked to perfection on a grill, along with fresh cut fries cooked in pure peanut oil. So right there, that kind of gives you a little bit of the stamp of what value Five Guys is bringing to the customer. So they have their fresh beef, never frozen beef. They have the fries, which they hand cut and they fry in peanut oil on premise. They also, as part of the experience, have the thing where you can walk in and you can get all the peanuts. So that you have to kind of factor into the cost as well. The peanuts don't cost peanuts. I'm sure those cost a little bit of money, as do the paper weigh boats that people put the peanuts into. So interestingly, that's kind of one thing. Also, when you go to Five Guys, on every wall, on every Five Guys I've ever been to, they have the awards that were won, and every year that the awards were won. And in addition to that, they'll also have a board where a whiteboard where they actually write where all of the where the potatoes for that day come from, which is another interesting thing, because you would think something like a russet potato, which I mean, we were having this debate: is a russet potato an Idaho potato, or are those different distinctions? But they get down to like different farms, and they actually tell you which farm in Idaho provides the potatoes for the fries that day. And that's another interesting fact, because if you were a crafty person with chef ties, you can track it down to the actual farm where they get the potatoes, and you can get those potatoes for yourself, and you can make those fries at home. There's really nothing special about it. What they do at Five Guys to make their fries, they have multiple deep fryers. They have one at kind of a low temperature, which blanches the fries after they're cut. Then they actually drain that oil, and you can actually see baskets of fries that are kind of lined up there. And then there's a deep fryer that's at a higher temperature where they flash fry it in that for a few minutes to get them nice and crispy. With all of these steps and all this different variety of fries, there's a lot of inconsistency in the fries. So some people will say Five Guys makes the best fries. And we even have that poll where, people can't decide. The fries one was kind of interesting because a lot of people do say Five Guys has the best fries behind McDonald's, whereas Burger King and Wendy's doesn't. And I think that's more of the shenanigans that Burger King and Wendy's have pulled over the years. Though their fries in the last like 30 years have not been the same. I remember when I went to college, Burger King had actually rolled out a campaign for new French fries using Mr. Potato Head as the actual mascot for that. And they're saying, oh, these fries are better than any fries we've ever had before. And I know Wendy's now has natural cut French fries that kind of more resemble Five Guys. But then there's that as far as the fries experience, and I think that's easy to recreate at home. As far as the Five Guys, you can buy peanut oil in the supermarket, you can buy potatoes in the supermarket, and you could do the same thing they do. So it comes down to, they have a press kit on their site, and you can actually go to that, it says we only use fresh ground beef. We only use peanut oil. And there are no freezers in Five Guys locations, just coolers. So that is the value proposition of Five Guys. That's why they can charge you the money that they try to charge you at Five Guys. Let's actually, what I pulled up here, because I could have done this with screenshots, but I wanted to get it in real time and kind of make believe we're going to place an order here. And what I'm going to do is, so you can see here, this is a nearby Five Guys. I won't say it's the closest one because it's not. But let's look at it. So we looked at in one of the polls what the best menu is, and a lot of people did say Five Guys. Actually, let me go back to that. People put the menu at Five Guys. Oh, there we go. On par with McDonald's. Isn't that funny? McDonald's has quite a lot more. They have chicken sandwiches, chicken nuggets, but both were behind Wendy's, which was also kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and put it in order. So as far as Five Guys' menu, it's deceptively simple. They have, let me go back to this window. Up here, you can place a large order, which is like, I think it's like a box. You can customize the box, but they have burgers, hot dogs, sandwiches. What sandwiches? Okay. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the sandwiches as well, because that's funny. Fries, drinks, shakes. All right. So under burgers, there's, and Five Guys menu gets very cute. There's burger, there's hamburger, there's cheeseburger, there's little, there's bacon. So here's kind of the way to interpret the menu. When you see hamburger, it essentially means you're not getting cheese on it. When you see cheeseburger, you're getting cheese on it. I think between little and regular, it's one patty. And then when you add the word bacon, it's kind of, it adds bacon. So a bacon cheeseburger is a double patty with 2 slices of cheese and bacon, whereas a bacon burger is two patties with bacon. A cheeseburger is 2 patties with 2 slices of cheese. And then little just means 1 patty. Does that make sense? That's kind of the way it breaks down. So really there's only one or two things here. There's hamburger, there's cheeseburger, and you could have it with bacon or without. It's not really 8 options the way they have it. In fact, like when you go in, let's go in. This is what I would typically order in the past: bacon cheeseburger, and I would do mayo, ketchup, sometimes hot sauce, onion, not onion. We'll do grilled onion, grilled mushroom, and jalapeno peppers. For some reason, I love. Oh, and I did that, and you weren't even seeing it. So I clicked all that stuff there. And even here, like the way their website is set up, you could just add the extra patty. So this illusion on the previous page of, all these options, like it really is only half of these options. So yeah. So we'll go back to that. This is how I get my burger at Five Guys: mayo, ketchup, hot sauce. Sometimes I'll do lettuce, tomato, jalapeno, grilled mushrooms, grilled onion. And again, when I talk about Five Guys, I really do like the food at Five Guys. I don't have a problem with the food at all. It's just the prices are kind of ridiculous for the burger that's the easiest to reproduce at home. That's kind of, I think, the theme here. So that would be a $12 burger right there. So we'll add it to the bag. And then you can get it with a bun or without the bun. I'm going to show you guys the hot dog part of the menu for posterity's sake, just to, for S and giggles here. But again, it's the same thing where you can get a hot dog, you can get a hot dog with bacon, you can get a hot dog with cheese, or you can get a hot dog with bacon and cheese. So why they don't actually isolate that into, the options within the hot dog, I don't know. And I wonder, that's one thing I didn't think about doing for this, but maybe it's something that they break down for the purpose of actually padding the prices for all those other options. It's an interesting thing to think about. So that's hot dogs. We're not going to do that. Sandwiches. Here we go. So if you're a vegetarian and you go to Five Guys, really fries is the only thing you're going to get, or you can get a BLT or a veggie sandwich with cheese, which is essentially you can get all the toppings. It's a grilled cheese sandwich with any of the toppings that you want here, which is kind of, it's something that I listened to a podcast called The Best Show with Tom Sharpling, and he's been talking about it for a while because he was vegetarian there. And he joked that, you get a toppings burger. And it's funny. I think it's kind of hilarious that it's probably been 16, 17 years since he started making that joke. It's funny that even now in 2024, in the age of impossible meat and impossible burgers, that Five Guys doesn't have a better option for vegetarian people. But I guess they do what they do, and they do it well, and that's kind of their thing. But then we get to the fries, and here is where it gets a little, what I would say, on the crazy side. It looks like there's 6 options. In reality, there's 3 options. There's 3 sizes, and you can get them with Cajun seasoning or without. So there's little, regular, large, and Cajun. I wanted to pull up the difference between all of these because it's kind of funny when you get fries at Five Guys, what they actually do when they fill these containers. So you can see these are the cups at Five Guys. And I seem to remember in the past, the cups would actually have their branding on it, but now they don't. So they're not even paying for branding on their cups. So that's kind of interesting. But between the smallest and the largest, I don't know what the deal is between how these are filled. That's kind of a weird. I don't really get that. But what's interesting, what they do when they scoop their fries, they fill the cup with fries and they'll throw it in the bag, and then they'll take a pan and they'll actually put fries into that little pan and dump that on top of the cup that they've dumped. It's kind of a weird thing. You always get a lot of fries at Five Guys, whether you order the smallest thing they have there or the largest thing they have there. I think they scoop less into the little pan. Actually, I've gone there and I've seen them scoop a giant thing into that pan and then dump it in the bag. Or I've gone there and I've seen them put a couple and then dump it. So it's kind of inconsistent. It looks like whoever this website is, the U.S. Sun, which I guess is a tabloid, used to be a tabloid. That's where you used to read about Elvis conspiracy theories and stuff. What wasn't it, the Sun? What, like the National Enquirer and the Sun? Anyway, it looks like they did an expose and they weighed the fries. I mean, that's something you can do. I don't have the money to spend. What is it? Where is that? A large fries is $7.39. A regular fries is $6.19, and a little fries is $4.99. I don't have that kind of money to spend $20 on fries just to drive at whether or not they're worth the price. Also, they tend to put the fries in the same bag. So if they did that, how do you know that what they dumped on top was going to be for the same thing? So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing as well. And just to kind of finish out, going through their menu, they have drinks, and this is another place where the Five Guys was one of the first places that had the Coca-Cola Freestyle in my area. So like for like $2, it was like, okay, you can go there, you can get any flavor you want, and you get to drink soda using technology of inkjet printers, which I thought was fun. But now a soda there costs $3.09. And I'm going to be the old guy shaking his fist in the air saying, $3.09 for that. I'm just going to go with my bottle of water and drink my water, or ask for a water cup, because $3.09 for a soda, I can go to a bar for an extra $1, and get a nice beer. That's the value there is not what it is. And then with that also, like 20-ounce bottles of soda that you can order here are also $3.09, which is like, wow, I can't believe that's where we are. I remember it was $1.50 in my dad's store when the last time I had worked there. And that was, I think, 2004, 2003. And that's, I mean, I even thought that was expensive at the time. But yeah. And then finishing out the menu, we have, where am I here? I'm getting lost in my windows. We have shakes, and a milkshake is $6. A milkshake $6. So if you go through, and let me go back. Let's add that to the cart, and you can get all the mix-ins. We'll do double stuffed Oreos. Where's peanut butter? And peanut butter. Add that to the bag. Let's add some fries to the bag. We'll do a regular fries. So now my order with my burger, my fries, and my milkshake is 23 and change. Wow. Now, who can afford to eat like that every day? I mean, that first of all, you shouldn't be eating Five Guys every day. But I mean, to me, that seems like a crazy amount on fast food. And it's not only to me. If you Google Five Guys, if you essentially Google it, I Googled Five Guys expensive. You can see here that it looks like the news is going with out of control. People are asking, why is Five Guys expensive? And here there's a kind of AI explanation or excerpt out of that. Using fresh, never frozen ingredients, many burger toppings at no additional cost, bigger portions. So they have a value proposition. There was a $24 receipt that went viral. We here have a $24 receipt. Where am I? We're up to $24 there. That's without tax. So there's that. Reddit is saying prices are out of control. Former chef says prices are out of control. And this one I clicked into because I wanted to see who the former chef was that was talking about it. And it turns out it's Andrew Zimmern, who is the Bizarre Foods guy who has his own little YouTube thing going on right now. But you know, he goes in here and he says, where is it here? They say the same thing we've said so far. One thing that he brings to light that I think is an important thing to factor in there is making sure the staff has a fair wage. In terms of paying staff, I would never criticize a restaurant if that's what they're trying to do, as long as they're not like. I would never criticize a restaurant if they're paying their employees a fair wage, as long as they're not also like double dipping and paying their CEOs. I think Starbucks is probably the biggest offender of that, where, you know, their prices just keep going up and up and up. Their wages have gone up, but they also pay out bonuses to all their VPs and all their CEOs and stuff to huge degrees. And it's like, how much of that can the customer take on? It's kind of egregious. You know, but if Five Guys is willing to look at their cost structure and dedicate enough to the wages, I think that's a great thing. But in terms of like the value, you know, if it's because if Five Guys is expensive because the beef is getting expensive, that's one of the things Andrew Zimmern says in this article here. If that's the case, then, you know, maybe I don't mind getting a lower quality beef that brings the prices down. It would have to be at the behest of the quality of the burger. I mean, if they're paying extra for beef at no or marginal quality improvement, then that to me is, you know, one of those things where I don't mind if they cut it back a little bit. Same thing goes with the cheese. They talk about how the buns are made. They're made specific for Five Guys. And I mentioned earlier that Five Guys is probably the easiest burger to replicate. To me, their bun is very similar to like a Pepperidge Farms, just basic burger. And when I heard that they actually have a bakery, they have regional bakeries that supply to the restaurants that bake them and supply them. If you watch them, they actually take them out of plastic bags, just like the buns that you get at the grocery. To that effect, if you can find a bun that looks visually similar, and like I said, Pepperidge Farms to me is very similar to that. And one of the things I like about Five Guys, um, actually, I can't remember now. Do they use a sesame bun or not? Anyway, sesame bun is kind of my preferred thing for a hamburger, so I would get something that looks like that. But if you take the Five Guys ethos, fresh, never frozen beef, peanut oil for the fries, um, bun freshly baked or whatever, you can easily replicate that at home. So in terms of the value prop, if you look at, where was it? Actually, this gives a good example in terms of, this is the viral receipt, where the fries were actually $1 less than the fries that I put in the cart. 12.49 for a bacon cheeseburger. So that's 2 slices of cheese, 2 slices of bacon, 2 burger patties, which are probably between 5 and 6 ounces a piece. For you to get those ingredients, it probably is on the order of magnitude of that. I mean, that I think might warrant a lot of that price for the burger. But for the fries, potatoes is one of the cheapest things you can get. Peanut oil might be more expensive. But I mean, frying canola oil. That's why I think in terms of being able to replicate, it's just interesting to me when I go back to these polls, which is kind of what started this whole thing. Who makes the better burger? It wasn't a surprise that Five Guys ran so far ahead. I was kind of happy. Ooh, excuse me. I was kind of happy that Burger King didn't get completely left behind, because of these four here, Burger King's probably my favorite. Just gonna throw that out there. But with that said, Five Guys gets away with all these high prices. How much longer will they be able to do that without starting to cut quality and all these things like that? And here's kind of a little bonus now after I wrap up kind of that whole discussion. I think I had so I'm going to do a live stream coming up probably next week, inspired by something that James put in the community post for channel members, that kind of inspired this idea of my best story at each national chain restaurant, because I have some good stories for each restaurant, and I'll spoil the Five Guys one and tell it here. We might tell it again next week, who knows. But I actually was there eating at Five Guys when the what are their name, Merrill, when that family, the actual Five Guys, there were 6 guys there, but there were people there doing a quality check, and I was there eating, and the I guess fun, not really fun. It was kind of a day where I was really not feeling very well. I was kind of burnt out on dieting and exercising, and it kind of was a low point. And I went there and I got my burger, my fries, my shake, and I'm eating there, wallowing in my misery. And I swear to God that the Five Guys were actually in the restaurant, actually doing a quality check, which I thought was kind of fun. But this was kind of an interesting topic, which I think is great to kind of incorporate some of the community feedback from the polls into kind of the content here. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit a thumbs up, subscribe, become a channel member if that's your thing. There's exclusive videos in there, and we have a separate kind of community post where we communicate in there as well. But thank you so much for watching and or listening if you're on the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this, and leave some comments if you want to contribute to the conversation. Have a great 4th of July.